Game development sure is a heavy task for a woofer like me. Managing those 4 useless developers has been a heckin' job. Well, anyway, I made them all speak of our game, Elevator, and how we all made it. I hope you enjoy. These paws were not meant to program. Expect a heckin' treat for this.
Welcome to our presentation about Elevator. This is a game project made by 4 students from Norway, yes?
Welcome, you're here totally by will, not by force.
Yes,
You're not being held at gunpoint. And if you are, you have no proof. So explain to me, what have you done on Elevator?
So, I've been a designer and writer mostly, and I've also been the social media manager, specifically managing our Twitter account.
Move them back.
I have been pretending to play The Sims 4.
That's a very good description, actually.
So almost everything you see I've been placing, and I've spent more hours than I can count on every level. I couldn't have done it without help, of course. So with a lot of help of structuring, it was much more easier for me to just actually put the assets into the game. But ooh-wee, I would have done some better planning in retrospect.
Hello Maria, how are you?
Hi, I'm great, thank you.
Good, you're here totally not by force. Did not
Completely.
force anyone to talk about the game Elevator at all.
So I am the art director on Elevator, and I've also worked a lot with level design.
Cool.
On Elevator, I am the producer and programmer, so I whip around all the other developers and I don't hold them at gunpoint while making devlogs, I promise. We don't have any proof of anything. There's been no accidents yet. But yeah, so I maintain everyone and I make sure that everyone is doing something useful for the project, and also like telling this is what we need, this is what remains, and also a lot of in-engine work like with programming. I programmed basically everything, made sure that everything works correctly. So yeah, that's been my duties on the project.
Cool!
Very cool.
So, I thought that I could show you some pictures, and I just want you to explain to me the thought process and the inspiration for the levels.
So let's start with the reception, the first level of the game. So here you see the reception. It's the first level I started working on as well, and where the player starts their journey through this weird building. So for the reception, we wanted to make it open, very clean, not too much clutter like you will see in the other levels.
So it's like, where did people go? Did they leave in a hurry? Is they on the break? Not easy to say.
I wanted it to feel like open and bright, and it wasn't until later that I saw that I might have gotten inspired by Danskebåten from Oslo to Copenhagen.
So we wanted to give the player like a sort of creepy vibe, but not tell them too much. So don't worry too much about what you hear on the phone. So
It's nothing.
you'll find out. Maybe don't think about it.
We have the most amazing feature wall of plants, of course, very importante. And yeah, it's bright and shiny.
So, the basement. What was the idea when designing this level?
So the idea with the basement was that we wanted quite a stark contrast from the reception, because the player goes in with the expectation of going to the top floor to the job interview, but the elevator then suddenly takes you to the basement, and then Benjamin, the main character, says like, basement? That's not what I pressed.
We hope to practically scare the shit out of them. And really set them off like something is not right here. Something is definitely not right.
It is not obvious where Benjamin is supposed to go, and it really strikes like creepy horror game atmosphere.
When you come to the basement, it's your first encounter with the uncooperative elevator. So we're already kind of scratching the back of the player with like, okay, something is going on here that's kind of not explainable right now. Combined with the lighting and the awesome sound design in here, I feel like the vibe, but like the dark and like not muddy, but how do you call it, like moldy, and you can almost like smell like the moistness in the air, and it's like not pleasant to be there at all.
Do you like the player like, what would I do now? And maybe they try to like push the button again, and then the elevator, or Ava, which is the AI in the building, says that this elevator is not operational, find another elevator. That like gives the player some motivation to go, maybe go find another, to like they have to explore the basement. So here's a clip from early basement.
Yeah.
What's the process from going from this to this? And why did we not go with this?
So we wanted that dark and creepy atmosphere, and at first we had these like white concrete walls, but everything looked like too sterile and too cold, you could say.
This room is what we call the like the escape room.
Yes.
Explain it to me. What's the process here?
So you enter the room and then the door locks up behind you. Scary, scary, scary. And then in front of you see a box that will guide you through some tasks, like you have to find this colored box or this colored box, and you will figure out that in order to get out of here, you will need a key.
So we wanted to create the first escape room. It was not to be too difficult or too like complex for the player to solve. But I wanted to still keep that creepy tone of the basement in this. So I set up sort of like a maze area with the shelves and the boxes. The boxes were just because it fit, like to have like a storage room sort of thing in the basement. You don't know exactly what's in the boxes, apart from the security cameras, which also will give the player an impression of being watched all the time.
So this is the third floor of the game, and it's quite a contrast from the basement. Why did you choose to have this big of a difference from the basement to the next floor?
So elevator is quite, or it's kind of a short gameplay experience. It's under an hour. It's around 30 to 40 minutes. So we really wanted to show like the variation of an office building.
We wanted every level to stand out and be an unique experience. So the first one is like really creepy and dark, but then suddenly we want to have strong contrast to make the game more interesting and to change up the pacing of the game. So here in floor 5, it is like a regular office floor. The lighting is quite warm and comfortable, and it looks like a place where ordinary people works and has worked very recently.
The puzzle, or the escape room in floor 5.
Yes.
What's going on here?
So here we have a game of Simon Says, which has a kind of an annoying twist. Everyone knows this game. It's Simon Says. You just do whatever you're told.
So when we designed the puzzles, originally we struggled quite a bit with how do we make an escape room in an office, but having the character Thomas that is quite erratic and is giving Benjamin the job interview, and the interview itself is the travel in the building. Thomas has made these puzzles, so they're quite handcrafted. They're made by Thomas, as you can see with, like, for example, in this one you have the screens with the dancing Evas to the music, and he set up this speaker on the ground.
But it's essentially just a kid's game of Simon Says. So again, you're locked in this room, but it's not as dark or claustrophobic. It feels more like just silly to have to solve this puzzle. And it gets like more difficult throughout the game as well, so it's still interesting. And then we have a lot of like storytelling just inside this room. When you're done, you can explore. We also decided to include a lot of fun Easter eggs.
All right, so floor 8.
Here you can see it's a resemblance to floor 5. That they have cubicles and it's workers here as well. But this is a more upgraded floor where You'll see brighter colors and more shiny assets, and everything just seems more clean and like cared for.
Floor 8. This is where the executives of the company work. Early in this level you meet Thomas in a ventilation shaft. He tells you that he's fixing some oxygen valves, etc. and he asks you to find these pliers for him.
This floor has also gotten through some changes. This here is a picture of one of the first iterations of the floor. Why did we choose to go in a different way than what we originally had?
So a big goal for this game and all the different levels were to keep them very separate and give them each like a very individual and distinct feeling when the player enters.
So when you look at this, it doesn't really invite you for exploration. You can kind of see everything. I wanted to avoid that without closing off the whole area, because cubicles makes it more easy to just hide stuff. So as a player, hopefully, if you're the exploration type, look more around and just explore more, finding Easter eggs and post-its from playtesters. Spill Expo shoutouts.
So this is the final escape room of the game.
Yes.
What was the idea of designing this puzzle?
So, similar to Simon Says, this is also inspired from a game, Keep Talking Nobody Explodes, where the essence of that game is communicating, because one player can see the screen and the other one just has the instructions. So here, Thomas is behind a locked door, explaining to Benjamin what he has to do.
Here, Ava, the artificial intelligence, says on speakers that the oxygen turns off in 2 minutes.
Like with the wires, there's a random order that you have to cut them in, which Thomas is then explaining.
The second is to turn the correct valve, and the third is to press the correct button based on the descriptions Thomas gives you.
If you, before you go in here, help Thomas to find a tool, you will also be able to enter his very shady sleeping area / security room. So I think I spent almost a day making this room, and I really wanted to tell the player more about his erratic side and his relationship to his AI. So you will find some things in here that might not be so pleasant to see, but it's like, he's human and he's been here alone for quite some time, and you know, people are disgusting.
You can see the security cameras of the floors you've been to already, which will give the player an impression like, wait, have someone been watching me this entire time? This is weird, this is creepy. There is also a certain body pillow in the bed. It's very weird.
Woof, woof, woof. In dog. This means thank you so much for watching the making of Elevator.